We attribute the success of mankind.
Let's cut through the noise. We're a nation rich in potential, yet stuck in cycles of mediocrity, mismanagement, and missed opportunities. I am Joseph Quaye Amoo. I've served the powerful, worked with the forgotten, and walked the tightrope between hope and hopelessness in Ghana. I refuse to accept that corruption, poor leadership, and apathy are just how things work here. This isn't just a YouTube series. It's a frontline, a challenge to the status quo. And if you are tired of pretending things are okay, you are exactly who I made this for. I'm a communicator and journalist by training, and I want to give a big shout out to all the amazing people I had the chance to meet, study with, and graduate alongside at the Ghana Institute of Journalism, now Unimac GIJ. I was there from 2008 to 2010, and then again from 2012 to 2014. Honestly, I'm really proud of what so many of them are doing today for Ghana through their work in media and journalism. From as far back as 2005 until around 2018, I was very active in children and youth development work. I was part of Curious Minds, a youth-led advocacy organization made up of some of the most passionate, determined young leaders I've ever known. That group actually shaped my thinking in so many ways. It was hands down the most influential leadership grooming platform I've been part of. It helped me see the bigger picture, how leadership and development must serve real people, especially in Ghana and across Africa. I've also been a teacher in a small village called Haveando in the Volta region. That's why I did my national service in 2010-2011. Now, here's the interesting part. At the time, I was already interning at a leading TV station in Accra. I could have stayed in the city and easily done my service there. A lot of my colleagues were lobbying hard to remain at the station. But I told them I've never lived in a typical rural community before. I want to go to experience it. I want to go to see how I can contribute. So I went to teach ICT in a school that didn't even have electricity. That year changed me. It's one of the most defining periods of my life, and I'll certainly share more about that experience in another video. From 2017 until mid-2025, my main work has been in development program and project management. I've managed projects in water, sanitation, and hygiene, that's WASH. I've managed projects around young women's sexual and reproductive health and rights, and most recently, for the past 6 years, a STEM education program. We've been training teachers to use everyday materials to teach science and mathematics in a practical, hands-on way. I'm serving as a country director of that very organization. That story too deserves a whole video on its own. But here's what drives me above all else. I care deeply about Ghana. I believe that if we want this country to grow in the right direction, it has to be built on strong values, honesty, hard work, fairness, justice, integrity. Without those, no policy or program will ever make lasting change. We'll just keep spinning in circles. So no, I'm not here just to post content. I'm here to influence development, real, practical, value-based development. I'll be sharing videos, yes, but this won't be about the hype or going viral. It's about using my voice, my experience, and my networks to push systems that work for young people, for families, for all of us. Ghana doesn't need more people sitting on the sidelines complaining. We need people who are willing to step up with boldness, with consistency, and above all, with integrity. And that's what I'm here to do. I hope you'll walk this journey with me. I grew up in La, a place rich in culture, full of community, but also full of contradictions. I saw neighbors working so hard every single day, but somehow still struggling to make ends meet. I saw smart, talented young people settling for less, not because they weren't capable, but because the system just didn't make space for them. And even as a kid, I couldn't help but wonder, why does it have to be this way? Growing up, there are three key values that have really shaped or defined my life. One is integrity, two, pragmatism, and three, compassion. Let's talk values for a moment. Not the kind of values people just say just to sound good on paper or in public. I'm talking about the ones that test you and perhaps sometimes break you. The ones you live through, the ones that shape you. Integrity. This value of mine has been tested beyond its limits. And honestly, I've fallen short a few times. I'm not proud of it. There has been those moments, small traffic offenses, paying your way through a utility connection, not because I wanted to, but because the system always almost forces you to. Anyone who's tried to live straight in Ghana knows exactly what I mean. These were some of the lowest points of my life as a Ghanaian, because that's when I began to lose hope in the idea that living with integrity was even worth it. You do the right thing and you get punished. You try to follow the rules and the system laughs in your face. There was this one incident at the airport. This was sometime in 2018. I was working as a driver for a ride-hailing service. I dropped off some American passengers at Kotoka International Airport, right on the zebra crossing. Parking enforcement came for me. They dragged me to the yard and slapped a 150 Ghana cedis spot fine on me. Now at the time, I hadn't even made 150 Ghana cedis the whole morning. I pleaded, told the officer it wasn't intentional. I was genuinely struggling that day. He asked me, how much do I have? So I opened my wallet and started counting. 1 cedi notes, 5 cedis and 20 cedis, I think. Even Pessoa coins, so everything totaled around 73 cedis. He looked at me and said, bring it, go. I gave it to him. I left, disturbed, deeply sad. But as I drove away, a voice in my head wouldn't let me rest. I turned around, headed straight to the former UT Bank ATM at Airport City, and cashed out about 300 Ghana cedis from my savings and returned to that same yard. I told the officer, I've changed my mind. I want to pay the full fine, 150 cedis, and I want a receipt. He was shocked. He said he had to go find the original officer who picked me up so that they could balance out the money. I said, fine. So I actually waited for about an hour, maybe more. While I waited, I struck up a conversation with a taxi driver who had also been arrested. His fine, 250 Ghana cedis. He didn't even have it. So I gave him, I think, 100 cedis or 150 cedis. He was so thankful. He asked me for my number. I told him, no, I'm not giving you my number. The only thing I want is for you to also help someone else in trouble one day. That's all. Eventually, the officer came back. I added the rest of the money, got my official receipts, and I left in peace. Pragmatism. Life is not always about big titles or high offices. Sometimes you just have to roll up your sleeves and fix what's broken. Let me share something simple but powerful with you, an experience I had. So the dirt road that leads to my house, then, it has always been a mess. No matter the season, there was water all over the road. We suspected an aquifer beneath. It became a big problem. One neighbor upstream would divert the water to keep it from entering her house, which sent it straight into another neighbor's property. The neighbor would then redirect it back. And so it went back and forth with tension, quarrels, and even near fights. We called in the assemblyman of the area. He actually even owns land further downstream, and therefore he was even affected by the same problem. So a meeting was held. In fact, I missed that meeting, but a WhatsApp group was created and I was added. Days passed, weeks, nothing was done. So I decided to act. I remembered seeing piles of waste sand material dumped by the Ladadikotopo Municipal Assembly from a previous construction on the Burma Camp Trade Fair Road. I asked the assemblyman to find out if we could use some of it and if the municipal assembly can provide an earth-moving equipment. He asked the municipal chief executive, and the response, yes to the materials, but no to the equipment. So I took initiative. I got quotes from a backhoe operator and 2 tipper truck drivers. I shared the cost evenly among neighbors. I even reached out to a local church in the area, which was also actually affected by the same problem, and they supported with about, I think, 1,500 cedis check. The rest of us, about 250 Ghana cedis each. We brought in the trucks. An engineer from the assembly came to advise on how we can top up the road and then dig the earth drain. So we dug an earth drain, we filled the road, we connected it to the main drain downstream. Problem solved. I remember thinking, imagine if every Ghanaian took small leadership like this seriously. You don't need a position, just purpose, service, and the will to get things done. Compassion. This one is personal. It's about feeling the pain of others and doing something about it. If there's one value I think is missing in our society, it's this. If we truly cared for others, especially those who don't have what we have, we wouldn't steal from public coffers. We wouldn't mismanage funds meant for the vulnerable. We wouldn't look away. And I say this knowing how difficult it is to keep giving in a country that barely rewards honest work. Sometimes I feel inadequate. There's so much need, and I often don't have enough to meet it. But anytime I get a chance to help, whether it's financially, with my time, or just my energy, I feel divine satisfaction. Like I've touched something greater than myself. That day at the airport with a taxi driver, I didn't do it because I had more. I did it because I understood what it felt like to be in his shoes. And I had just enough to lift him up. These are the values I aspire to in a country where self-serving, me-first thinking has become the norm. Integrity, pragmatism, compassion. They are not just ideas for me. They are lived experiences, tested, tried, and still standing. And maybe, just maybe, if more of us choose to live by values, not empty riches, then this country might just turn a corner. So, why am I doing this? Why am I choosing this path of development influencing? I've been asked that a few times already, especially from people that are very close to me. People curious about whether I'm just trying to chase likes, go viral, ride on trends, maybe get a little clout. Let me say this clearly. I am not in for clout. I'm not trying to be a social media celebrity. I'm not trying to be loud just for the sake of being loud. This is so much deeper than that for me. I'm doing this because I genuinely believe that Ghana can become that kind of country the world respects. Not just for our jollof or our music or our tourism, but for the quality of our people. A Ghana where our people are valued, cared for, invested in, and known globally for integrity. In a continent that perhaps has very little of it, that's the dream. And let's be honest, right now we are far from that. We're a country full of potential, but crippled by silence and apathy. Good people who want change, who know better, but choose not to speak nor participate in politics and leadership. People with ideas who never act but choose to leave Ghana and build a new dignifying life abroad. So this candle I'm lighting is not for attention. It's a call, a spark. My hope is that this little light of mine, it finds others like me. People who have had enough of the excuses, enough of the mediocrity, enough of seeing our people suffer while leaders play politics. If you've been watching things fall apart, hoping someone else would fix it, if you've ever said, "Hey, Ghana, when will we learn?" then I'm talking to you. I know this candle is small, but imagine if every silent visionary decided today to light theirs too. Imagine the fire would start, not to destroy, but to warm, to build, and to guide. So yeah, I'm stepping forward. Let's stop waiting. Let's start doing. If you feel what I feel, if you see what I see, then don't just clap from the sidelines. Speak. Act. Build. Let's shape a Ghana we can proudly pass on. This is the path I have chosen. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. And if you are ready, I'd be honored to walk it with you. Thanks for being here. Let's keep lighting candles. One video, one action, one voice at a time. Now you tell me, what's one thing you believe Ghana must change? Comment below, because in the next video, we go deeper into Ghana's development paradox and how ordinary citizens like us can influence the system from the ground up. Like, share, and subscribe.